Good evening, guys. Welcome to tonight's video. So this is the final installment of food environment, basically, and how our food environment dictates how much we eat. So if you haven't seen the other two videos, go back and check those out. So tonight I'm going to talk about a very interesting study about buffets. So basically, I did some studies on these, went in 300 across the US, and they basically found that sort of lean people act differently in this type of environment to people that are overweight. And they have sort of different behaviours, okay? Now, obviously, this is a difficult environment. We all know this. It's very easy to overeat at a buffet. And basically, they came to the conclusion that they couldn't really ask people who are leaner what they're doing, because a lot of the time they don't know. It's just intuitive. It's a pattern or a habit that they've developed. But what they did is they observed them and they noticed a few things. So about 70% of lean or skinnier people they found tend to, at a buffet, they tend to scout out the buffet, okay? So they tend to have a look around, sort of cherry pick their favourites, then go get a plate and then pick those ones that they picked out beforehand, okay? Now, what they found opposite to this is that people who tended to be more overweight, about 80% of these did exactly the opposite. They went straight to the buffet, they picked up a plate, went straight to the food, and basically just went from item to item saying, do I want this? Yes or no. Do I want this? Yes or no. Do I want this? Yes or no. Okay? So big difference there, okay? Next, they found that leaner people tend to sit on average about 16 feet away from the buffet, whereas people who tend to be overweight tend to sit 16 feet closer to the buffet. They found that leaner people are 3 times more likely to face away from the buffet. They found that leaner people are 7 times more likely to use a smaller plate if 2 different plate sizes are available. And they also found that leaner people tend to be 6 times more likely to use chopsticks if available, and if they know how to use them, of course. Now, this is observational, and obviously we don't know that, for example, doing these things will cause you to eat less, okay? You could argue that leaner people just intuitively tend to do this, or that doing this makes them leaner, okay? But as they said at the end of this study, and what was their motto that I've mentioned in the previous video, success does leave clues. And if you want to, be lean, do what lean people do, Just like in business, if you want to be successful, you do what successful people do, okay? Now, the important thing about this is it stops you fighting willpower and your human nature, because your human nature is to eat food. And it just gets you to use your environment to help you, because it's a lot easier for you to sit further away from the buffet, to sit facing away from the buffet, to cherry pick your favourites and just have those, to pick a smaller plate, to use chopsticks. It's a lot easier for you to do that than for you to sit there and say, I'm not going to overeat, I'm not going to overeat, I'm not going to overeat, I'm not going to overeat. That is going to be a lot harder, okay? So it's all about just stacking as many things in your favour as you can. Okay, and just getting as many odds on your side as possible, okay? Now, there is actually, just on the side note of this, about the sort of the cherry picking, there is actually also extensive research that shows the amount of foods that you ever have on your plate can correlate to how much food you eat, okay? So, for example, especially at a buffet, if you have more different foods on your plate, you are more likely to eat more food in general, okay? And that's, again, been shown in studies. Now, what they went on to find from this was, like we say, it's all about habits. It's all about making change, okay? And what they found was that if we can focus on one habit for 25 days, you will, they basically lost 1.5 pounds. Now, you may say, that, okay, that's not a lot, but I mean, it's not bad, it's better than nothing. But what they did find that was after the 25 days, this became a habit, and they did it consistently without even thinking about it. And they added on other habits onto this, and they continued to lose more and more weight. And it was almost like a snowball effect, okay? And these were all small changes, things like like we spoke about, putting the fruit bowl out and not having cookies out on display. And if you've seen the other videos, you'll see that everything that I've spoken about, these are all really small changes. Like putting all your snacks into one cupboard instead of having them in 4 or 5, or not having snacks in the house at all. Moving snacks 6 feet away from you at work, or just having snacks in a drawer rather than on your desk. Moving the salad bar in the schools just 10 feet from one area to the other so that people have to walk around it to buy it. Using a smaller plate. These are all really small, simple changes that take no cost and no effort. Okay, but they can make a huge difference. And it's all about making these small changes, because a lot of the problems that people have when they make changes, they think it needs to be this drastic lifestyle overhaul, scrap everything and start from scratch. And even though they've done this 5 or 6 times, they still think this is the way to do it. But if it hasn't worked before, try something different, you know, because smaller changes tend to be easier to stick to, and consistency is everything. You need to be doing stuff every single day that moves you closer to your goal. And it's a lot easier to do that if they are smaller changes. You know, I always say that small changes done frequently are a lot better than large changes done infrequently. It's all about what you do consistently. Okay, that's what makes a difference. Okay, now, just want a quick few things to help you. Basically, this guy who pretty much I've quoted all of his studies, well, I say all of his studies, everything that I've quoted basically is from him. And he gave you 3 changes that you can use today to sort of test out how this can work for you. Okay, number 1 is to get a fruit bowl if you haven't already got one. Put it in your kitchen in a place where 2 feet away from where you always walk. So your most travelled path through the kitchen, so you're always walking past it, and have at least 2 different types of fruit in there. Okay? Next is to have 6 types of single serve protein in your fridge. Things like low fat cottage cheese, low fat Greek yogurt, low fat string cheese, you know, sort of things that are tend to be higher in protein. Because what this does is it basically, we snack out of convenience. Okay, so we go to the fridge, we open it and say, oh, I might fancy this. If you've got a nice protein snack there, this will keep you full. We know how amazing protein is for losing weight. It will keep you fuller. And obviously it helps to, you know, build, retain muscle, has a small metabolic effect, etc., etc. But it's going to be much better than you grabbing cookies, sweets, etc. So, but if you've got them there, you have no excuse not to grab them, okay? And finally was to use a checklist. So basically, he's wrote a couple of books, which are definitely on my list of books to read next. And in one of them, he has a checklist, and I'm going to, I've managed to find on the internet, so I'm going to put it in the comments underneath this video. It's basically a 100-point checklist that you can do in your home, and basically it has all these different little checklists. So you go on each one and tick it off if that is relevant and you have done that in your house. And basically you total it all up and it gives you a score, and the score gives you a ranking on basically, it assesses how sort of good your home is at either helping or hindering you with your food environment. So, you know, is your home sort of aiding in your food environment, eating habits, or is it hindering you? So I'll put that in the notes as well, because it's really cool. And again, they're all just very small things. So that's all I've got to say for this, for now anyway. I will talk about something different after this, so don't worry. But I think it just sort of reiterates the point about how important I think this is. I've done 3 videos on it because I think it's massively overlooked. I think, you know, the what you eat, how you eat, what you do for exercise, how you do exercise is obviously extremely important, but this is always overlooked. And if you don't get this right, you know, you can exercise all you want, but it isn't going to make a difference. Okay, because at the end of the day, our environment has a huge impact on how much we eat, and how much we eat has a huge impact on everything. Okay. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment and share, because I do always appreciate it. And just keep in mind that if you are not watching this on my YouTube, I do have a channel. It's just my name, Nathan Bancroft. And it's just a very easy way for you to see all of my videos. I put them all on there. So it's just a nice, convenient space rather than you scrolling through my Facebook. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys, and I shall see you in the next video.